Hello, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the absolute biggest questions you can ask. Do we have free will? And to get to the bottom of it, we're going to become detectives on a case that stretches back 14 billion years, from the very beginning of the universe right into the squishy electric brains sitting in your head right now. So let's get right to the heart of this mystery. We don't need a time machine just yet. All we need to do is look at a simple choice you made, about a minute ago. I mean, it feels like a simple yes, doesn't it? You were curious, you clicked the button, and here you are. But believe it or not, a really famous experiment back in the 1980s took that simple feeling and turned it into one of the most shocking puzzles in neuroscience. Okay, so a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet had people do something super simple. Just flick their wrist whenever they felt like it. But he was measuring their brain activity, and what he found was weird. A brain signal, this readiness potential, started building up more than half a second before the person moved. But here's the kicker. The person only felt the conscious urge to move about a fifth of a second before they did. That leaves this huge, mysterious gap where your brain is gearing up for an action you haven't even consciously decided to take. This experiment just blew everything wide open. It made it seem like your conscious mind is just a passenger, getting a memo about a decision your unconscious brain already made. It's a massive paradox. And to even begin to solve it, we need to zoom out, way, way out to the beginning of everything. To really get what's happening inside our heads, we first have to appreciate the chain of events that built our heads in the first place, a chain of cause and effect that's been running without a single break for billions of years. It's really all connected, you know? The Big Bang sets the laws of physics in motion. Gravity pulls stuff together into the first stars. Those stars are like cosmic forges, creating heavier elements like the carbon and oxygen that are essential for life. Then, when those stars die, they explode, seeding the universe with the stardust that eventually becomes our planet, our food, and, well, us. Every single atom in your body is a direct link in that unbroken physical chain. So you see the problem, right? Is our feeling of making a choice just another domino falling in this massive cosmic line? Is deciding to get a snack just a bunch of chemical reactions that are, in theory, as predictable as a star-going supernova? For a long time, it really looked that way. But it turns out the story has a few more twists. It turns out that as things get more and more complex, brand new rules and new kinds of causes can just pop into existence from simpler parts. It's an incredible idea called emergence. Right. Think about it. A single brain cell, a neuron, isn't conscious. It doesn't have thoughts or feel sad. But you get 86 billion of them working together in just the right way, and you get consciousness. You get you. But the first truly mind-blowing example of emergence on Earth was life itself. This is so cool because it solves a classic chicken and egg problem. To have life, you need RNA to store information, but you need proteins to do stuff, and you need lipids to build a container. So which came first? Well, new research suggests maybe none of them did. A network of simple chemicals on the Earth, zapped with sunlight, could have started a chain reaction that produced the building blocks for all three: information, function, and containers, all at the same time, from the same chemical soup. And the moment you have that first self-replicating cell, a totally new kind of cause shows up in the universe. A rock is just pushed around by physics. But a bacterium? It's governed by physics, sure, but it's also governed by the information in its DNA. It has a goal: stay alive, find food, and make copies of itself. This goal-directedness is called teleonomy, and it's a whole new layer of how things happen. Life having a goal was a game changer, but it was just the beginning. The next huge layer of emergence created the world that you and I actually experience every single day, the world of our own minds. This is where the whole concept of why really starts to mean something. A rock doesn't fall for a reason, it just falls. But a conscious animal, or you, we do things for reasons. We act based on our feelings, our memories, our plans for the future. We've entered a whole new landscape of cause and effect, one built out of meaning. Now, to be clear, scientists are still figuring out exactly how the brain does this. In fact, a huge project recently put the two leading theories of consciousness head to head. And it turns out neither of them got it quite right. But for our detective story, the key point is this: consciousness, however it works, adds another layer of cause to the universe, a layer of beliefs, desires, and reasons that just doesn't exist if you're only looking at atoms. Okay, so now we've got this idea of stacked layers of reality. Physics on the bottom, then life, then mind. Armed with this, let's go back to the scene of the crime, that mysterious brain signal in Libet's experiment. Well, it turns out that a much more modern way of looking at it suggests we might have been getting it wrong for decades. The new idea is called the stochastic accumulator model, which sounds super fancy, but the core concept is actually pretty simple. This picture explains it perfectly. The old view saw that ramping signal as the brain making up its mind, but the new view says something completely different. Your brain is never quiet. It's always buzzing with random electrical noise. A decision to move isn't some long, drawn-out process. It's just what happens when that background noise, by pure chance, happens to cross a certain line. So that ramp Libet saw, it wasn't the decision itself, it was just the average of all the times the random noise happened to cross the threshold. This ladder of causation helps us see where we were going wrong. The Libet experiment was looking for our choice down on the first rung, like one physical domino hitting another. But this framework shows us that a real human choice, the kind we actually care about, lives way up on the third rung. It's not just a physical event. It's an act of imagination, of weighing possibilities. So, if a choice isn't just one little tick of a clock in the brain, what is it? And how can we be sure we aren't just tricking ourselves about how it all works? There's a great little parable for this from the world of AI. Sometimes it looks like an AI model just wakes up one day with a brand new skill. But it turns out this is often just a mirage caused by how we measure it. If you only give the AI credit for a 100% perfect answer, you'll see it fail, 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 and then suddenly succeed. But if you measure its partial progress, you can see it was learning smoothly the whole time. This is a huge lesson for the brain. Maybe our simple measurement tools created the illusion of a sudden, mysterious decision event that wasn't really there. When you get right down to it, the whole free will debate really depends on what you mean by free and what you mean by you. A hard determinist says it's all one big chain of cause and effect, so no, you couldn't have done anything different. A libertarian says no, the self is something special that can step outside that chain. But there's a popular middle ground called compatibilism, and it changes the question. It says freedom isn't about breaking the laws of physics. Freedom is being a complex system that can think about its reasons and act on them. In that view, you are that entire reasoning system. And since you acted on your reasons, you were free. That question kind of forces a battle between science and our own experience. But what if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? Maybe the better question accepts that we are a part of that chain. In fact, we might just be the most complex and interesting part of it. And when you think about it that way, a choice isn't some weird, spooky event that interrupts the universe. A choice is the entire history of the cosmos, from the Big Bang to the stardust you're made of to the culture you live in, all coming together and expressing itself through you as a thinking, feeling person. It transforms free will from a paradox we need to solve into the grand finale of a 14 billion-year story. What do you think?